Let's pick up once more with that interview with the ANC Chief Whip in Mpumalanga, Fidel Mlombo. Mr. Mlombo, our apologies. The picture froze. We were chatting about Philemon Lukhele. You were telling us that your office is angry and disappointed, and you could hardly believe the news that Philemon Lukhele had been arrested in connection with this crime. Can you tell us a little bit more about the job that Mr. Lukhele held in your office?
Mr. Lukhele was a senior manager that is dealing with research, but he was also dealing with communication. He was leading a team of researchers which were assisting us with researching all issues when we were going for elections. They would be the ones that go forward and do the research work. But also he was leading a communication department in the office of the Chief Whip.
How long did he work for you?
Look, he's been there for some time because I joined the office of the Chief Whip as the Chief Whip of the majority party in the legislature in 2019. By the time I arrived there, he had more than 8 years of service with the office of the Chief Whip. Yes, he's having some time, more than 10 years experience, more than 10 years of service in the office of the Chief Whip.
Could you tell us a little bit more about his character? What kind of personality is he?
Look, he's a very good man. I have known him to be a very good man. I have known him to be a committed individual, a committed comrade. I have known him to be a hard worker. He is well learned. He's a graduate from the University from the Witwatersrand, and he's got a number of degrees, and he's still studying. He's a very intellectual human being, and he's a man with the leadership capabilities, because in his department he was leading a team of 6 researchers that were reporting directly to him. So that is him. That is Philemon Lukhele.
Lukhele told the court today that he and Gardee, of course, the father of Hillary, that he'd known him for a very long time, and also he believes he's going to be cleared of these charges. Any comment?
He must have known him for a very long time, because Gardee himself, he grew up in the ANC until recently when he left to join the Economic Freedom Fighters. But also, Philemon has been a member of the ANC Youth League nationally and in the province. And during those processes, he must have known Gardee. But he also is an active member in the ANC in the province of Mpumalanga. So during those processes and those interactions, he must have come across Mr. Gardee.
Do you know anything about Mr. Lukhele apparently owning a guest house, and that might have linked him to this crime?
Yes, he does own a guest house in Nelspruit. I know the guest house. I know that he's owned the guest house. I know that he's using the guest house to accommodate students from the Mpumalanga University. I know that he has got cars to transport those students from his guest house to the Mpumalanga University. That I can confirm.
Does Mr. Lukhele, to your knowledge, have any prior convictions for any crime?
I wouldn't know. This is the first time that I hear that he's involved in a criminal activity. I have never been informed of any criminal activity before, since I joined the office of the Chief Whip to head that office as the Chief Whip of the African National Congress.
Are you as puzzled as the rest of South Africa is why a man who has a job, earning a salary, would potentially be involved in a robbery and a rape and a murder in which 1,300 rand was taken from the victim's bank account?
Look, that is why I said, on hearing this news, on receiving this news, I was personally a bit frustrated as an immediate employer. I was angered because I couldn't believe that a man of a caliber of Philemon Lukhele could do that. I received the news with anger and disbelief. I still cannot believe that it is him that has done that. It's unbelievable. That's the least I can say.
Do you think the police might have got it wrong?
I don't think so. I would prefer to allow the police to do their work. I'm only saying that it was unbelievable because of the character that I know of him, but I'm not necessarily saying that he did not do that.
Sure.
What I'm saying is that it's a horrible act that a normal human being would not engage into such an activity.
And of course, Philemon Lukhele and the co-accused innocent until proven guilty, of course. So talk to me about the ANC as his employer. Does he get financial support for this legal process now? Is he suspended immediately from his job? Mr. Mlombo, can you still hear us? I was asking about...
Freezing. Would you please repeat the question?
Yes,
the screen is freezing.
Yes, of course. So I was asking about the fact that the ANC employs him. What support do you offer him in terms of legal or financial help?
The screen is freezing. Would you please repeat the question?
Okay. I was asking, as the ANC, as his employer, what support do you offer him legally, financially, in terms of his job? All right, Mr. Mlombo, can you still hear us? All right, I think we might have lost that connection, but the ANC Chief Whip in Mpumalanga, Fidel Mlombo, who is the employer of Philemon Lukhele, has given us a lot of information, also expressing his absolute shock that a man in such good standing with 10 years service in this department, highly educated, in charge of communications and research, has been arrested, but also saying that he doesn't believe necessarily the police have got it wrong. The law must, of course, take its course. Mr. Mlombo, thank you very much for your time this evening.